shit's not coming up in mine.
All right, there we go. All right, good morning, everybody. Hopefully you all can see us and hear us. We're having kind of a special day today. I made it another year as of today, so that's always a good thing, especially everything considering in the last year. But just wanted to say good morning to everybody. Let's see who we've got in the chat. We've got Doubt and Night Owl both with us on video. There may be a few other surprises coming in on video too. I'm not sure who all is going to show up either in the chat or on Zoom. So we'll see what happens. But we'll say good morning, Dana. Good morning, Rune. Ronald, Fred Flintstoner, Mike Zimba, let's see, who else? Securitech, good morning. Pocket Women, good morning. Who else do we have here? Miko Wolf, G Keyman, good morning to you both. Let's see, Brian Field, James Randolph, Dave Addion, Wallers, good morning. So thank you all for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it. So this is sort of just a impromptu birthday party, I guess you could say.
An old part now.
Yeah, guys, I appreciate y'all being here. We not got anything really to go over or cover. We're just gonna kind of hang out, share what we've got, see how the next hour or so goes. But yeah, it's been kind of this past week's been getting somewhat back to normal. After the last couple of weeks dealing with the cats and getting bit by the cat and work and everything else, but hopefully you guys are doing all right. I guess. Okay.
We're managing.
Yeah. So Night Owl, you've got a new tool there, it looks like.
Yeah, I finally broke down and bought the Master Lock leashy tool, and I've been experimenting with it. Because this is something that I know a lot of people have been talking about, the leashy tools, and oh, it's a game changer, and oh, it's so awesome, and et cetera, et cetera. And the thing is, like, yeah, okay, so it might, if it actually works for you, a lot of people seem to be saying it's a really great teaching tool, it's a really great learning tool, and that might be true. Frankly, I don't quite have that same experience with mine. But the main thing is, for me as a lock picker, I develop much more skills, and I get a lot more variety out of my traditional tools. And as a locksmith, I also get a lot more versatility out of my traditional tools, because I don't know what keyway I'm going to be running into on the job when I have to gain entry to something. And the other thing is, well, okay, so the decoding part is very cool, sure, but again, I don't know what keyway or depth system I'm going to be dealing with most of the time. So, and I'm already carrying around a repinning kit and disassembly kit, and if I just toss in something like this, the Deviant decoder card, which can decode pins for some of the more common systems, or just a cheap pair of calipers in my bag, I've got everything I need to take a lock apart and decode it if I am in a situation where I need to decode and cut a key to match the existing key. And really the one thing where I can't do that is master locks.
Right.
because master lock padlocks are sealed. You know, they're riveted together. Well, most of them anyway. Like the Pro Series, if you get them open, you can reach in there with a hex wrench or a Torx wrench or a screwdriver, whatever, and drop the core out.
Right.
But yeah, if for some reason you have a bunch of master locks, like so in New York, for instance, large commercial buildings have to have a sprinkler system, and the cutoff valves for sprinklers are supposed to be padlocked.
Okay.
And so most building owners will go and get a whole bunch of key-like padlocks to lock up all of those valves. And you don't want to be standing on a like 12-foot ladder trying to pick every single one of these things.
Right. Right.
Pick one, decode it, cut the key, and if they're all keyed alike, you've got a key that you can just go around and open everything else. Or you can just say, okay, here's the key to all your sprinkler padlocks. Cut a whole bunch of spares, and there you go.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's I could see it being, useful for that more than I could just about anything, because like you said, a lot of other locks you can take apart and, decode them that way, or just simply rekey them. But something that's sealed up like that, it would definitely be, it would definitely be convenient, I believe. And I was thinking the other day, if I was actually going to get into automotive, I would probably buy a number of the automotive ones just to simply avoid having to, remove the ignition or remove a door lock from a car, because that's time. That is a lot of stuff that you can potentially lose or drop, and it would just save so much time, because I know a lot of cars you have to decode the ignition lock, cut a non-working key or a non-programmed key in order to turn the ignition, and then go from there to program the actual car. So
there's the whole programming process. There's also, if you do have even if you have an older car with a lost key situation, okay, so you've got your 2-door locks, you've got your trunk or tailgate lock, and then you've got your ignition lock, and then maybe you have a glove box lock.
Right.
That's 5 locks, and most of the time, very few cars make it as easy to change out the lock cylinders as it is to change out, say, a mortise cylinder on a door.
Oh yeah.
Do you really want to go take each door to pieces just to change out the locks, or to decode them and fit keys to them? I mean,
right.
We've all
that's
fighting that steering column that the guy dropped off a while back.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely save time there, but yeah. As far as like the quick set or the Schlage, I'm not interested in it.
That's the thing, for the price of those tools. Sure, I run into a lot of Schlage. It's a very popular thing. It's just kind of the default for a lot of hardware. But then, you know what? I also run into a lot of Yale paracentric keyway. I run into a lot of Corbin Ruthwin. I've got a lot of Arrow and Siegel in my area.
Right.
Even if they made Lishi tools in all of those different keyways, is it really worth it to me spending $80 a piece to get one for every single one of those keyways and then carry it around with me, versus, my little pocket pick set.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you can pick a lock, then
Right.
and pick a lock that you can take apart, then why worry about buying a different one for every lock?
Right.
At least only $80 there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, of course, it's only money, but
Sure.
The one here, the only seller here that I can actually get the LW4 and the LW5 leashing tools from is $200 each.
Oh,
wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'll go with me POV bloody multi-pick lockpicks then.
So I had something.
Even the big. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I had something this past week. My best friend, he had bought two multi-lock puck locks somewhere off the internet, like ages ago, and they were keyed differently. And he's sort of like I am, the fewer keys to carry around and worry about, the better. And so I was at his office, a couple months ago, and he said, "Is there any way you can get stuff to, key this multi-lock, key them alike?" And I said, "Sure." And Bill Bacardi actually, he got me a couple keys because my friend had mixed up the key cards that he got. They came with key cards, and he wasn't sure which one went to which, but they were two different ones. So I said, "Okay." I said, "We'll just get one of them, and Bill, he can get a couple extra keys and send me one set of pins. That way we can rekey just one of them, and the key will work the other." And so anyway, I got the stuff from Bill, and it took till like a week and a half ago now, to get back up with my best friend, and I took the lock apart. We figured out which one the card went to, blah blah blah. So we figured out which one I needed to rekey. Took it apart, which I had never taken apart a multi-lock puck lock before. Of course, I didn't mention that while I was working on it. But anyway, I took it apart and got all the bottom pins in for the all the new bottom pins in, and my friend was like, "Well, I'm going to throw these old keys away," and I said, "The hell you are." Slide them my way, and because one of them was actually bent, but the other was good, and I saved the old pins out of it because I said, never know when you might need something like that. And so I put together, with the new bottom pins, I put it together, and put the core back together, everything, and go to stick the key in there, and the ramp on the tip of the key got hung up. It was hanging up really bad, and I didn't have time to sit there with him. And he said, "Just take it back to shop and work on it. Let me know when you get it." And so anyway, I came back here and I did get video of all of this. I just got to turn it into a video and upload it. But anyway, what was happening was the tip of the ramp on the key was getting hung up on the inner pin of number 2, which is multi-lock interactive. So that's going to be the shortest pin in the whole series, and it was getting hung up there. Like you could kind of jiggle it and bounce it a little bit, wiggle the key, and it would slide in some of the time. And so I get it back here, and I called Bill after looking at it. I'm like, "Have you ever seen this before?" And he's like, he said it might be that inner pin. He said, and they were brand new pins out of a factory, multi-lock pinning kit.
Yep.
And anyway, he said it might be that inner pin is bent just a little bit. And I'm like, I don't know, because I mean, like I would roll it, and if it's bent, it is bent so slightly that you can't see it. Or there's something going on with it. But fortunately, I had saved the old pins, and the inner pin that was in the old stack was same length, what it needed to be.
Yep.
But it was actually one of the master pinning inner pins, and put that in there, and it just slid right in, worked. I mean, just as smooth as silk. So I don't know what was going on. I don't know if it was that particular lock. I still have that inner pin that was giving trouble, and hopefully this weekend I'm going to make a video where I take one of my multi-lock interactives and key it to those to those other pins with that one questionable pin in there to see if it does the same thing. So
I would say chances are it is that pin that was bad. I deal with multi-lock a fair amount, and they can be very, very temperamental. And there are a lot of, like, one thing is, first off, when you're dealing with multi-lock, if you're servicing them in any sort of real volume, do not reuse pins. Any amount of wear on just is gonna make it throw a fit. And then two, even when you're using the factory service kit, you might have to go through like 3 sets of pins just to find one that is right. Like there's something, the refill packs for those where, like 2 out of 10 pins are not perfectly machined.
Right. And I think something with the old pin was that because it was one of the master key inner pins, it had that reduced diameter. And that seemed to help quite a bit getting it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things that can go wrong there, whether it's not perfectly round, whether it's not perfectly straight, whether it's just a little bit too wide, whether it's got a bit of grit in there and needs to be cleaned and lubed.
That was the first thing Bill said. He said, just lube the crap out of it. And, I sprayed like a half a cubic meter of Houdini in there, and, even separated inner and outer pins and sprayed everything. And it still didn't. I mean, this shop smelled so wonderful after lubing that lock up as much as I did with Houdini. But
now, here's another thing though, for multi-lock, and also to some extent with Medico, is generally speaking, you, at least up north, you don't want to use machine oil for your final lubricant for those. What you want is something like Tri-Flow, which is it has a detergent element like Houdini, but instead of being a light machine oil, it is Teflon.
Okay, gotcha.
Only shit we get here.
I mean, that stuff is also very good.
Yeah. I wish I
That's
could
the
find
only
some
stuff
of that.
we get here.
Oh,
It's made by WD-40, but it's the only lock lubricant we actually get here. I actually looked up because I really want to try Houdini to see what it's like. And I tried to find, and I managed to find one supplier on eBay that would send it to Australia, but it's going to cost me about $60 a can.
Oh,
I'm like, yeah, no, I'll take my $6.99 Buddy Bunnings lock lube any day.
I mean,
When
that 3-in-1 brand is actually very well known and well respected as a general purpose lubricant company.
It's freed up a few locks I've got here. That were gummed up to shit. Like, it actually freed them up really well. Even the about 100-year-old lock I've got sitting up there, that thing was buggered when I got it, full of crap. And I soaked it in degreaser for a day, and then sprayed heaps of lube through it and freed all pull the pins and actually works. So I'd use it for all my locks and everything like that that need lubrication. That's all I use. Only because I keep going into Bunnings and seeing the packets of graphite sitting there, and I keep hearing Jason in the back of my head going, "Don't you bloody dare!" There's nothing worse hearing Frank in the back of your head, and you go, "Oh, what graphite?" And it's like, "Don't you fucking dare get that!" I'm like, "Right, no, keep walking."
Yeah, no, the two worst things to put into a lock are graphite and WD-40.
I had an officer that I used to work with, and he swore by graphite powder in his handcuffs. Like, he would lubricate his handcuffs with graphite powder. And I'm like, why are you doing that? And that was years before I ever started doing anything, with locks. And he said, yeah, just put graphite powder down in there and it'll be great. And I saw him doing that, one day at the office. He's, packing in like, 2.5 kilograms of graphite powder in each one. And I'm like, oh, geez. And of course, his hands, are just covered in it. And about like, a week later, I see him one night, and he handcuffed somebody, and they are covered in graphite. He is covered in graphite. There's graphite everywhere. And that's
why I put in his guns.
Really?
As soon as he shoots it, and he can run. It's like instant smoke screen. As soon as you see it,
yeah. I asked him, I said, are you sure that was graphite and not fingerprint powder that you put in there? And he didn't like that. But, yeah.
I mean, I actually spent a fair amount of time going around to all of the different major manufacturers of handcuffs in the US and Europe at trying to find what their cleaning and maintenance recommendations were. Because I collect handcuffs and restraints and stuff, and at least half of them have no recommendations whatsoever. It's like, yeah, whatever, just do it. Like another quarter of them, the instructions that they give you are just, oh yeah, just do a function check, and if it starts to act up, take it to your armorer or your quartermaster or maintenance person, whatever. And
see what they have.
No, just like literally, it's, oh yeah, if it doesn't pass your like monthly function check, just turn it into your quartermaster and get a replacement, and let them do it. And then like only like 1 or 2 companies actually had instructions on how to actually service them. Like, I mean, most of those, most handcuffs are, riveted together. You're not taking them apart to clean them and replace a broken spring or whatever. It's just, if they're broken, they're broken. But
right.
For like your regular monthly or quarterly maintenance or whatever, most of the recommendations were use something like CLR.
Oh, wow.
Or REM oil.
Mm-hmm.
Basically use whatever their preferred type of, or whatever your agency's preferred type of gun oil and or cleaning and lubricating product is.
That's sort of my thing, is whenever I break out the gun cleaning kit, I'll break out the handcuffs and just dab some oil in there and run it through a few times and put them back and be done with it. Just kind of make a thing out of it.
Couple drops in the keyhole, couple drops on the pole, couple of drops on the hinge.
Yep.
And just cycle it a bunch of times, wipe off the excess. That's pretty much what any decent maintenance instructions I've found for them say to do.
Now, do you have any aerosol lubricant, Stout?
Just a couple. Actually, there is one I am missing, which is the surface spray bug spray to keep the fucking spiders out of the locks here.
Now, that would be important where you are.
Because the amount of times you see bloody locks around here covered in spider webs, there's always like a little white towel or red back hiding in there. Yes, everything here tries to kill you.
Yeah, I mean, y'all have like spiders that grow to be the size of, like crabs, and crabs that grow to be the size of like monkeys, and yeah. I mean, I would still love to come and visit, but
I mean, we just have rats the size of dogs here.
Yeah, we got possums the size of friggin' dogs here. When I lived out on the farm, like literally there's a possum in the backyard that was dead, and the ex-wife couldn't lift it up with a friggin' shovel. I had to lift it because it was way too bloody big. Took 2 shovels to lift the thing up. It was that massive. But the spiders, everything here, it's trying to kill you. They actually did a song, tourism song ages ago that said, "Come to Australia, you might accidentally get killed." Like literally only the fittest survive here. Like only the strongest make it to adulthood, because literally everything is trying to kill you. It's a nice hot day. Let's go down to the beach. Friggin' box jellyfish and blue-ringed octopus friggin' trying to jump out and kill you. I was over in Adelaide.
Poisonous animal dumping ground.
Yep, I was over in Adelaide, and they got this massive, massive adventure playground outside on a place called St Kilda Beach, which is kind of weird being over in Adelaide. And I actually put it up on my Instagram account. Beautiful, beautiful place, massive playground, flying foxes, kids running everywhere. And there's signs all the way around the outside that says, "Warning, snakes inhabit this area." I literally took a photo of all the kids playing in the background, and there's this sign right at the front that says "freaking warning." It's up on my Instagram. I'll have to share it across the bloody Twitter. It's absolutely hilarious. But literally, that's what it's like here in Australia.
Well, it's funny because after, I saw that black snake out in the yard out here, posted the video of it the other, last weekend, I think Sunday. And the thing showed back up Wednesday morning. Like I'd gone out to run errands, came back into the driveway, and he was, just out there in the driveway, which is the gravel. And, of course, I stopped the car, got out, and I was going to let him get on so I wouldn't run over him. But anyway, he went on. But I showed that video to a couple people, at work, and they're all like, why don't you get rid of it? You should kill it. I'm like, no. Those are good. Those eat the snakes that will eat you. And, they're like, it doesn't matter. I'm like, look, there are places in the world where you see a black snake, you run the other way as fast as you can, because you don't know what kind it is.
I've nearly stood on a few. I can tell you that now. I was out hunting and nearly stood on a friggin' black snake. I didn't even see it. I was walking forwards and I saw something move under my boot, and I kind of just froze and, wait, let it sliver off and go. And then I was out in the friggin' paddock, out on the farm, and was heading down to the dam to check the pump. And I'm walking down. The next minute, there's a lowlands copperhead, which we get here. And they're like the wasps of the snake world. They will literally just attack you for no reason at all. And I'm literally standing about 3 foot from it, and it comes up to the S-bend and, it does the launch forward, and I kind of just went, shit, I cannot move. I'm like frozen stiff, and it finally just went off, and I kind of crept backwards and then sprinted up to the house as fast as I could. I had to go change my underwear, I think.
But that's like the last summer that I was in my apartment. Where my apartment was at the base of the South Mountains kind of range, which goes through about 3 different counties through that area. And they're not real high elevation like we had in the northern part of the county, which was, above 3,000 feet elevation. where I lived was about 1,200 feet, and then the northern part of the county went up to about 3,000, and then literally across the street from me in the South Mountains, that only went up to maybe about 2,000 at some of the peaks. But in the South Mountains range, it is very, very friendly to rattlesnakes and copperheads. And the 13 years that I was living in my apartment, I never once saw a snake around, black snake, copperhead, anything, never saw it. That last summer that I was there, it was one evening, it was a warm evening. The driveway was all cement, and it's a fairly large driveway. And I had one car backed in, and then my patrol car kind of pulled in front of it because it kind of came down a hill a little bit. I was going to get something out of my patrol car and walked past. I'm just in shorts and flip-flops, and I take 2 steps past, and something just darts out right behind me. And I turn around and I look, and it's a copperhead that's maybe about 18 inches long or so. And he just sat there. After he darted out, he just stayed right on my path to go back into the house. And I said, well, I guess I'm sleeping in the car tonight. And I mean, I had to wait because I didn't know if there were others under my parked car. I didn't know if there were others in the grass. And I was trying to find stuff to throw at them to scare them away. And I'm like, I have birdshot for the shotgun in the trunk of my car.
They're more scared than you are of them, though, really. They only attack you if you actually, scare them or...
Yeah, the thing is, it was low light because all I had was like the street light on. And I knew that it was a copperhead. And I wasn't going to try to tempt fate, and I really didn't want to go to the hospital that night either. but yeah, he eventually slithered off, and I just made my way cautiously back, to the front door, and I was a lot more cautious after that. Let's just say.
I remember we had one, two, three. Four snakes in the house at one time when I lived with the old man. All pet snakes. He had a license, so we had a couple of pythons. Had an olive python. He named it Jigaboo, off the movie White Chicks. And we had a diamond python called Edward. Beautiful, beautiful snake he was. He was about 7.5 foot long. Taller than me. I'm 6'2". He was taller than me. But he was like a dog. We could literally grab this snake and you shake him around and you give him a kiss in the mouth, and beautiful, beautiful bloody snake. Like, it really did act like a dog. And we were talking to the guys that we got him off, and he had to get another one because this lady had another diamond python, and she used to let it sleep in the bed with her and stuff like that. Like, he used to hop up on the bed, and she kept waking up every morning, and the snake was laying like top to tail right next to her. And she went in and said to the snake guy, "What's it doing?" And he goes, "It's actually sizing you up to make sure that it can fit you in its stomach." Like, that's what it was doing. It was measuring her, the reptile guy in town. So she's like, "Shit, I better get rid of him, like keep him in the cage from now, like in the tank," because he was actually measuring up trying to eat her. But then we had this other new snake the old man got, and have to clean out the tank. And he goes, "Oh, put your hand in." I was like, "I'm not freaking getting her out." I said, "She's asleep. I'm not waking her up." He goes, "She won't hurt you." And I said, "I'm not waking her up." I said, "You stick your bloody hand in it. I'll clean the tank out." He goes, "Oh, fine." So he puts his hands in, grabs the snake. She turns around and goes fucking bang, bang, bang. 3 bites up his arm, didn't she? Next week, he's got blood pouring down his friggin' arm. And he's like, I'm like, "Yeah, that's why I didn't put my hand in there." I said, "I ain't stupid."
See, and I was trying to convince Night Owl that, up there in New York, they needed, more black snakes and rat snakes like that to help keep those rats from getting to be the size of dogs out there.
It's all the steroids that they pump in the sewers around there. That's why they get so bad.
I have literally watched New York City subway rats eating
Pump for the dog.
Eating pennies. and steal wool.
It's because they keep breeding with all the dogs around there. That's why they're getting so big.
I used to commute late at night all the time, and late at night is when most of the rats come out. I mean, they're around 24/7, but you get like 10 times as many late at night, and they are not afraid of you. Like I've literally had them try to mate with my ankle. And so what I did was I would always keep a pocket full of pennies for something to throw at them to distract them or to scare them away. And that worked for a while until like
they started eating the bloody pennies.
Yeah, there was until one night, you know, I'm sitting there waiting for the train, and it's taken like half an hour, and there's this rat that's watching me from out of a drain next to the electrified rail.
That's what you need.
Yeah, well, except we're not allowed to carry those here.
Yeah, we're not here either. That's why that was.
But so I start chucking pennies at it, and like the penny will hit it and it'll retreat back, and like 30 seconds later it sticks its head out again, and I throw another penny, and after a while I'm running low on pennies, and it's getting a bit bolder, and it starts sniffing around the pennies that are all now gathered around where it had been hiding out, and it picks one up and it starts gnawing on it.
Let me guess, throws it back at you.
Thankfully, they have not figured that one out yet. The squirrels here will do.
It would have been funny if I had a
So Night Owl, basically you're saying you got mugged by a subway rat. Because I mean, he kept aggressing at you.
I have been mugged by a subway rat. I have been assaulted by a subway rat. I have been sexually assaulted by a subway rat.
Well, what do you expect? You're throwing money at it.
I don't mean that flippantly. I mean literally, a subway rat has attempted to have relations with my legs.
Well, stop throwing at money. It wouldn't.
The other one told it that you had money.
I don't know if prostitution's legal in New York City, but that's what it sounds like. You're throwing money at it.
Two different occasions, two different rats.
Nah, they've got the internet down there too. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh Lord. Yeah.
Oh no, the rats have Wi-Fi now. They've got Wi-Fi all through the station.
Oh, I'm sure they stay connected. Yeah.
Yeah. No, actually, it's actually a really big. The rats here are a really big issue now, because so many restaurants and offices had closed down, which used to be where their primary like foraging areas were, because that was where it was really easy for them to get a lot of food and everything, because they just wait until garbage night for the restaurants, or the restaurants actually used to throw things out like every night because they were so busy, and the rats would just wait until it was dark, and the garbage had been taken out and go have fun. And because of COVID and all the restaurants being closed or just doing much lower volume, they didn't have that easy access to all that food in those areas. And so they've now moved to all the residential neighborhoods, because people were throwing out a lot more food scraps because they were eating at home all the time.
Yeah.
And so now there's been this huge uptick in that. And then also a lot of offices and small businesses that had just shut down entirely for the last year. Some of them did it very, very abruptly with like no real planning or anything. So all those lunches left in the office fridge have been there for over a year in some cases.
Ugh.
Yeah, so there's a lot of demand for deodorizer and deep cleaning services.
Bleach. So you're saying I could take a tractor trailer load of Clorox up there and probably make my money back?
Oh yeah, no, people cannot get enough Clorox up here.
Oh Lord. Well,
just the thought of that. It just reminds me, when you clean out the fridge, you find that little black shriveled up thing in the back of the fridge. You don't know what the fuck it is.
I mean, this past year in New York, there has been, for one reason or another, there has been a nonstop demand for disinfectants, deep cleaning products, and deodorizers.
Yeah.
Really? Because all we got here is the demand for fucking toilet paper at the moment.
I mean, we went through that, and now actually, finally, we're getting back to normal on that. Like, you can actually get the good kind.
They announced that we were going into the lockdown.
Yeah.
Literally, they announced we were going back into a lockdown for 7 days because of wankers in Melbourne. And no offense to anyone that's watching this in Melbourne, but if you're one of those wankers that really spread the shit, it's your problem. It's your fault. I hate it. But they announced, like, going into lockdown, and of course, one person sneezes, 1,000 people shit themselves. So we automatically, everywhere sells out the toilet paper. And I was driving into work, and it comes over the radio. If you need some toilet paper, you're shit out of luck because there is none. And I had to go in the Safeway on the way to work, and there was literally one packet left sitting on the side note. And it was the most expensive friggin' packet sitting there. Like, the rest of it is all gone. All the frozen veggies are gone. I'm like, you kidding me? Like, the shops are still open for the 7 days. Like, all essential like services are still open. So petrol stations, post office, doctors, chemists, and the grocery stores are still open for 7 days. But of course, everyone shits themselves and has to go and buy shitloads of toilet paper for no reason.
The other day I was in Walmart and went down the little paper products aisle, and they had literally pallets, like 6 pallets, waiting to be stocked onto the shelves of toilet paper and paper towels. And I just stopped for a second and I thought, because people, there were like 2 other groups of little people in that aisleway, and they were complaining about having to get around those pallets. And I just stopped for a second. I said, 1 year ago, you guys would be tearing each other's faces off to get what is sitting right there, and as an inconvenience for you today, so that shows, and we were open.
Next time they announce a lockdown, I'm going to invest in fucking toilet paper because I'm going to be rich as shit. Like, that, or I've got to start selling it on eBay, like just stockpile during the year, and then when they go into lockdown, just have heaps of it sitting there and start raffling it off on eBay, like $20 a roll.
I'm waiting to see. So I was going to say, I'm waiting to see how many people around this area wind up blowing up their sheds because of all the excess gasoline that they've got stored up out there, like 5-gallon buckets.
Yeah, but it only lasts, like gas or petrol. It only lasts, I think it's about 3 months, 4 months, isn't it, or something, before it starts to go shit and no good?
It depends on the exact type and on the container, but yeah, you get like a couple of months if you don't add a stabilizing agent and if you're not storing it in a specific type of container. The thing is,
if you're redneck,
right. The thing is, like, the number of people that we saw, just filling like plastic shopping bags or garbage bags at gas pumps, or like there was a photo of someone with just a bunch of like 5-gallon buckets from a DIY center in the bed of their truck.
Well, if it was just polystyrene, they'd be making freaking super glue out of that shit.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, is like a lot of those buckets and bags are basically extruded styrene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I told somebody one time.
Like, depending on the type, you get maybe like half an hour before it eats through it.
Well, that's like I wanted to tell somebody at the gas station when that was going on here. They were looking for stuff to put it in. I had a full tank of gas. I had a full tank of gas before it started, and it lasted until after it was done.
Yep.
And I just timed it out. I knew how long it would last. And these people are going and panicking, and somebody, I had to stop there to get like a drink and a pack of cigarettes or something. And somebody's like, "Oh, we got to find something to put more gas into." And I said, "They got styrofoam coolers on sale up at the Walmart." And I just went on inside,
your trunk with napalm.
Napalm or super glue.
Yeah, make some napalm.
Actually set like glue, if need be. You mix polystyrene with glue, polystyrene with the petrol, and actually makes a glue. Or napalm.
It's redneck napalm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not saying that I've done it, but yeah, I've done it.
Yeah, I mean the worst thing though is that most of the places where all of that panic buying about gasoline in the U.S. was happening wasn't affected by that pipeline shutdown.
Yeah. Because they still had it locally. I mean, we've got here in North Carolina, we have, several storage areas that,
Oh, sure.
I mean, just here locally in my area, we've got several big storage, tank farms. And it's going to take more than a week to deplete those.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. But,
yeah.
I mean, the thing is that particular pipeline served primarily the northeastern U.S. So it's the East Coast, like north of Maryland. Like, if anyone should have been panic buying, it was New England and the Central Atlantic states.
Right. Yeah. Which, I mean, here in North Carolina, that is the pipeline we get it from.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's like people just, I don't know. People are crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But so I am trying to find a link. No, it's not there. I'm finding a link to share in the chat with everybody, but I'll go ahead and tell you guys what it's about. So last year in my old town where I used to, where I used to live, where I used to work, they built a new jail because the old jail facilities were just that. They were old and they needed to be updated. So they spent like, $30 million or so on building a new jail. And apparently earlier this week or this past weekend, they had a malfunction and the locks for one of the like cell pods, the locks actually failed, and they failed secure, which, you know, okay, you for that setting, you would want locks to fail secure, you know, which is when, you know, basically when the electrified lock fails, you know, something goes wrong, smelled smoke in there. And so obviously whenever the smoke's leaking out, you know, you have a problem. The smoke's not supposed to leak out of stuff. And
really?
But anyway, they
you don't
they
want
smelled
to
smoke leaking out. No, it's really, really hard to get back in there once it leaks out. But they smelled smoke leaking, and then so they went through and they discovered kind of where it was coming from, and then they discovered that the locks on this one like section of the jail were not working. They had failed and failed secure. The captain on duty goes to use his manual override key to open, and the manual override key does not open the lock. And they wound up having to call the fire department to come in and force entry into that door and a number of other doors that had also failed and could not be manually unlocked. And I thought it was just hilarious that the captain of the jail that was on duty and couldn't get it to unlock with his manual key. He used to be one of the county's only like 2 or 3 locksmiths. So, but yeah, that was pretty funny. I posted a link for it for y'all there to check it out. But yeah, that was pretty funny to me. You know, that's not a good situation to have in any type of situation, whether it's a jail or hospital or whatnot. You know, when you have electronic locks and they fail, you know, yeah, you might want them to fail secure, but you also want your manual override key to work.
Yeah. I mean, that's
especially when they're less than 2 years old.
Yeah. I mean, that's a thing that I run into a lot because we have a lot of customers that want smart locks. And part of the problem with that is just in New York, our doors are not designed to fit modern cylindrical lock sets. There's a reason why we still use the Siegel Jimmy Proof lock pretty much everywhere. It's just the way that the doors and door frames are designed. Unless you're putting in a brand new door and door frame, 90% of the time, the easiest thing to do is put a Siegel Jimmy Proof on. And a lot of people want to put these modern smart locks on, but they're not designed to work with old-fashioned rim hardware. They all expect you to be doing, you know, Schlage or Quickset, like big box store deadbolts. And even the ones that are standalone, like the Yale ones, 90% of the time, people are like, oh yeah, well, I'm really worried about lockpicking because I watched Lockpicking Lawyer and all that. So I want a lock that can't be picked. So I'm going to get the Yale Smart Deadbolt. Like, great, but the battery's on the inside of the door, and there's no external emergency power contact. So when that inevitably fails,
I'm going through your fucking window.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bit of a problem in New York.
Yeah. That would be how many floors up the fire escape get in that window.
Like, so here's the really crazy thing. In the area where my shop is located and where I do most of my work, we have a lot of converted industrial buildings where the primary means of entry to the apartment is an elevator that opens directly into the apartment.
Yeah.
And then they have a security door that has a lock on it as an additional prevention. So the residents will have a key to lock off access to their floor in the elevator, and then they'll have a security door to physically prevent access, just in case someone could manage to get past the elevator lockout. And they're putting these ridiculous smart deadbolts that run off of a couple of AA batteries and have no emergency override capability. And it's like, so yeah, if you don't take proper care of this lock, or when it inevitably fails in like 3 years, because these things are not heavy duty, they're not meant for long life cycles. My options for how to gain entry to your home is either going to be, I'm going to commandeer the elevator that serves your entire building for a good 20-30 minutes while I punch a really big hole in your door and then patch it up and put in an actual good deadbolt. Right. Or someone does some crazy SAS Delta Force style rappelling through a window off the roof from a helicopter sort of thing.
You've got that in your shop, don't you, Night Owl?
I mean, I've got plenty of rope. I know how to do belaying, so yeah, if I can, as long as I can get up there.
As long as you charge the extra rate, right?
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely charged at extra time.
That's the thing. All these smart locks, thinking going smarter, it's actually making it more fucking dumber. Smart locks. Yeah. Just swipe a key to get in. It's like, yes, but there's like people are like, they're spending so much money on it. Yet I have never once. I've seen JB Hi-Fi selling them, Yale smart doors and stuff like that. I'm like, I've not yet once seen one in public on anyone's house that I've walked past. But they're making it so much smarter, yet half the people are too stupid to remember to replace freaking batteries. I mean, they have to mark it on the calendar each year for people to replace one in their smoke detector, let alone one on their front door.
Yeah.
It's...
And the only time they replace the batteries in the smoke detector is when the thing starts beeping at 2 a.m. and it annoys the crap out of them for long enough that they finally decide to do it. Or they just take it down and set it in their pile of things to do and forget about it. Which reminds me, I need to get batteries.
I have to admit, most of the smart locks that I've seen, like the ones they sell at JB Hi-Fi, which have no fucking reason at all to sell smart locks, because it's got nothing to do with locks. Like the whole business has nothing to do with the locks. They're electronics, yes, and CDs and games, but not locks. They all have manual overrides, and usually it's like a really shitty, easy core that you can literally just like jiggle open. But a lot of the smart locks, there's other ones that don't have the manual override and stuff like that, but they've got to be all hardwired in. But Bunnings sell them. I'm yet to see one installed anywhere on like housing that I walk past. And yes, I've been swearing on this live and I don't give a shit. I'm waiting to see it in the comments. Did you see the thing I shared on Twitter? It was like come up on Twitter, like after I sent you the message, one come up the other night, I think it was, and it's like 45 photos about Australia, proves it's like no other place. And number 3 down on the list was Australians swear a lot, even grandmas.
I'll have to look for that.
I actually got told off by. I actually once got told off by an Australian for swearing too much.
Well, it won't fucking hurt. I'll tell you that now.
See, I mean, I grew up
literally one of those people. I get told, "What's your language?"
So we use swearing as punctuation.
See, I've never heard my mother say anything worse than heck. Like that is the biggest like 4-letter word I have ever heard her use. That's not to say that she's never used it, but she's never used it in front of me. And 36 years now, that's pretty good. And also 36 years is pretty good that I've never used anything stronger than heck in front of her since I was 3. So that's doing pretty good.
I was one of those kids. I get slapped and go, fuck, and get slapped again. And go, my nan was the worst. Like, if you got in trouble with my nan, she'd go, "Listen here, you fucking little shit." She'd grab hold of your nose and twist it and pull you down. Like, she was evil. Only like 3 foot tall, a little spitfire.
Lord.
Yeah, my family, I probably swear the most, but I get away with being a chef. Well, ex-chef now. But I'll tell you what, after I left one of the restaurants here, a pub that I was working at, I left and I was still friends with the head chef there, and I said to him, like, "How's it going?" And she's like, "They banned swearing. Anyone caught swearing in the kitchen is instant dismissal after you left." She goes, "You set us all off, didn't you?" Like, I was the worst one. Like, waitress would come in and ask a stupid question. I go, "Well, you just fuck off," and throw a bread roll at the head. Like, I made Gordon Ramsay look like a saint. But I mean, we get it here in Australia. Like, swearing is just a lot of people here in Australia. It's kind of weird because we're backwards. And I've said this years ago on the live stream I did. Like, we in Australia, it's kind of weird. We catch up with mates. We don't call them mates. Our friends. We don't say, "Hey, how you going, mate?" It's always, "How you going?" C word. I won't say it because it offends people in Canada. Stuff like that. But if we get into an argument with someone, like we get in, like start a fight with someone, we go, "Listen here, mate, don't you?" Like, it's completely opposite. And stuff like that. So
I think South Park did a joke about that, except it was about Canadians.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Something along the lines
of like, Canadians a lot on that show.
Now listen here, buddy. Hey, I'm not your buddy, friend. Hey, I'm not your friend, mate. I'm not your friend, buddy.
Kevin bloody Wilson, he did one. You can't say the C word in Canada. The song, and that went bloody viral over here years ago because he goes, "It's not very nice at all." So he asked the Sheilas what they call it, and they go through all the bloody nicknames for it. But I remember watching Jeff. We were talking about it earlier in my live stream. Jim Jeffries, the comedian from Australia, he's over in America, and he was the very first person to say the C word on stage in America, like in a stand-up comedy show. And that's what he's known for now, like, and stuff like that.
I mean,
like, I like that sense of humor. I like, the dirty stand-up stuff. I like Jim Jeffries and Jimmy Carr and stuff like that. So, a lot of the jokes I come out with stuff inappropriate to some people. I don't give a shit. I say what I like. I always look at it. Offense is something taken. It's not given. I can't give you offense. You take it. And I just don't give a shit. I'll fuck with anyone. It doesn't worry me. We all see what happened with a certain somebody on YouTube to try to mess with me, and I totally destroyed him. So yeah. I don't care. We don't give a shit until it's too late.
When I was running night shift for my agency, one of my guys actually told me one time, he said, "You're like the Gordon Ramsay of police." He said, "You make things turn out okay, but there's an awful lot of yelling and swearing in the process. And after that, I went to, like, my next assignment was working as a school resource officer. And so here I am, you know, like kindergarten to 8th grade. And, you know, I know half the kids knew more words than I did, but still, being the good example, that is really like going into that every single day.
I'm not a con.
Yeah.
I'm not a convict. I wasn't sent over here. My parents come over after all that shit. I'm the first one born here. I'm not a convict.
Well, but
I like
stuff gets done, but there's a lot
the
of
larger
going
point
involved.
there.
It's like here in Australia, if something's broken, we don't say it's broken. If someone goes, "Oh, what's wrong with it?" Oh, no, the C word's fucked, mate. That's it. If everything, it's like, why would the car start? Ah, the fucked. The C word's fucked. Oh, we just say it. What's wrong with your lock? Oh, chain snapped off in the.
So I mean, this is part of why I. This is part of why I but this is part of why I actually enjoy Australian and British TV. Because you are much more comfortable with reality. So much of American social convention is all about, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do the other thing. And if someone disagrees with you, you just have to just not say anything or tacitly agree with them, no matter how batshit insane it is.
And that's why you don't watch my live streams, is it?
See, I'm one of those people that
pretty much.
If the thing is that I call it like I see it. I mean, I've got my like Anthony was just saying in the comments a little bit ago, you know, he's got his public mode. And I've got my public mode, you know, the mode where it's polite and you know, within reason, business acceptable, I guess would be the appropriate term. But, you know, I'm going to call it like I see it. And it might be a polite way, or it might be just straight out the words, "You're a dumbass." And
I mean, I've got in trouble because I told someone their baby was ugly. I literally got in trouble because I had no filter. And possibly being autistic, I can't lie. It just sets me off if I try to. It's worse than friggin' Sheldon. He tries to lie. And someone goes, "Oh, isn't it cute?" It's fucking ugly. Well, I couldn't help it. I just said it. I mean, I got in trouble for calling the baby ugly.
As an example of what, just how repressed you have to be in order to be considered to be polite and, you know, business mode in America was forced into a meeting with the entire department chaired by my boss's boss's boss. And they start talking about, oh, well, it's time for the annual employee review process. And Nidal, would you like to do one as well? And I'm a contractor. It is illegal. It is extremely illegal for me to do an employee review process because I am a contractor, not an employee. And the best I can do is just quietly shake my head. And they're like, "Oh, you're not interested?" I'm like, how can I tell you that you just suggested that we break the law? And not like not like, oh, you'll get a $100 fine for littering kind of law, but like I could be on the hook for thousands of dollars in fines. You can be on the hook personally for thousands of dollars of fines, and the Department of Labor can shove an investigations team so far up your entire organization's rectum that they can see everything that you look at.
That's all right. I got called into the office when work found out that Blaze and I were dating, because, you know, we met at work, and it took them over 2 months, and we get called into the office and they're like, you know, we're just letting you know, we're not sure if it's true or not, you might be dating. So I literally bent over in front of him and said, get it over and done with, and then walked out. Like, literally, I just bent over in front of him and went, get over and done with, and walked out. I said, what do you think I am, 12? Like,
Nope. Bye, Jason.
Yeah, he's in Frank mode today.
oh, yes, Frank.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why my room was named after him. Chris Bash is in the shit.
Oh, Lord. Well, we've been going for like an hour and 15 minutes now. And we have definitely, it's definitely a good thing that I always, when you have to, when you have to do the settings for the live stream and you have to say, is this made for children? I always put no. Today, it was definitely a good thing that I put no.
Very glad we actually put it as not made for children.
Yes.
Yeah. God, it says do not inhale. Oh, fuck it.
They put that on. They put that label on just for you, Delp.
Yeah.
Yeah, but afterwards I'll suck the bottle dry now. There's nothing left in it.
Cool. We only filled up like 5 balloons out of that thing. I've sucked.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, Lord. Well, I guess it's about time to wrap up.
How else to celebrate your birthday?
Hey, there you go. You know.
Hey, happy fucking birthday, man.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the hell out of it.
Tie a bloody tire string around my leg. I might float off the amount of helium.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. Now, if I can something else. Yeah. I just wish I could get back down to my weight 10 years ago. And then maybe I could float off on a balloon. But yeah, guys, I really appreciate it. It's been a blast today. And I appreciate everybody out there in the chat. You know, we've had everybody. I've tried to keep up with it. But
actually
yeah,
a good turnout today on here.
The what?
We've had a good turnout on here today.
Yeah, we've been getting pretty good. 23.
There's about 24 people watching.
Yeah.
Pretty.
So that's pretty good. So yeah, but yeah, I appreciate it, y'all. So I guess we're gonna go ahead and wrap it on up here. And head out. I've got a few things to do today, not too much, but I'm gonna grill, provided it doesn't start pouring rain on me. It's not supposed to rain until maybe late this evening, but who knows? It is May. So
she's gone.
Yeah.
Delp has to finish off this helium.
Yeah.
I'll have to buy another one.
Oh, Lord. All righty, y'all. Well, we're going to sign off now. So y'all have a great weekend. Here in the U.S., you've got the Memorial Day holiday on Monday. Please remember what that is really about. Do me a favor and please do not say Happy Memorial Day, because it's not we can be happy on that day, But the reason for the day is not a happy one, but it should be an honorable one, which means don't get drunk or pissed, as you say everywhere else in the world. Don't get drunk or pissed, and don't run into the Grinch. And
I think the healing did something to
but yeah, be safe this weekend. Stay out of trouble. If you don't stay out of trouble, name it after me. You know, and anyway, yeah. It'll be like, you know what, Timothy James Night Owl, whatever. Take one name from everybody here today. But anyway, y'all have a great one. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Be happy. Be healthy. Stay out of trouble. And we'll see you next time.